And good afternoon. It's straight up high noon. Welcome to our special report, the Traffic Report Show. If you're here, you probably know that Jeffrey Epstein was found dead this morning in his cell at the Tombs MCC federal prison in New York, run by the Bureau of Prisons, and he was in Justice Department custody. Just earth-shattering. We're trying to get Howie in here, and YouTube just changed its format and got it's owned by Google, but they got rid of Google Hangouts. You know, that kind of odd. So we're not able to bring people in by video right now, but hopefully that'll be changing. I have to up my game here and download some software that will allow us to do that. But Howie's going to be with us via phone. I've already talked to him this morning. This is just hard to comprehend. So let's get Howie in here and we'll get rolling. Mark Connor's show is here. Yeah, I heard the Bureau of Prisons has something going on with him too. So hello. Let me check your level there. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. I just see. I don't have my. Well, go ahead and talk, and let me see how the chat room project. Go ahead, talk.
Breaking up a little bit.
All right,
I am talking.
Talk louder.
I'm screaming.
That's a little better. Hold on. Let me trying to get you next to the mic. Little learning. Yeah, YouTube has made it really easy for us to do this. All right.
Well, how are people doing it? I mean, people go live. What are they using?
They're using what I'm using, which is just the webcam. But the problem is, chat room saying it sounds.
Well, there's a YouTube live thing, isn't there? We never figured that out, right?
No. That's what I'm using right now. But the problem is it doesn't allow me to bring people in like Google Hangouts did.
Whoa. That's right. It's a one person show.
Yeah.
You don't want too many.
Guests. Well, the good news is the chat room's working, and this works, and it actually, we can preview the show, and I can get on there. And what it's going to involve is downloading some software and just setting it up again. Jason Goodman's I'll probably rely on him for some help. Hi, Lisa Warren's in there, Jack's in there. I'm just saying hello to the chat room, but wow. I mean, let's everybody can hear you. So we were talking earlier. What do you think, Howie?
I think a lot of things. My mind is wide open to all possibilities. The one thing I know for certain is, well, as not certain, but as certain as I can be, that Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide. I mean, in the off chance that he did, it's incomprehensible that someone with that importance would be allowed to commit suicide. But I mean, which leaves two possibilities: he was either murdered or he's still alive, And the whole thing was fake, and they're getting him out of there, and he's going off somewhere, never to be seen or heard from again.
Well, yeah, and none of the and the way I found out, I was at the gas station in the process of adopting another cat this morning. I didn't know that either. But Kelly just yelled out, "Epstein's dead." And I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather. And the first thing that I thought of is, how does somebody in federal custody on a suicide watch do that? So
they were reporting that he was taken off from suicide watch.
yeah, I heard a little bit of that. They were conjecturing, because there was no official announcement of any kind. That's spin by NBC that, oh well, it wasn't really a real suicide attempt.
I'm saying he was taken off suicide watch. You know why? I mean, why wouldn't this man be protected in a padded cell with literally nothing to hang himself with? You know, they have to have special, you know, all kinds of abilities, or at least someone, you know, have him on closed circuit camera. You know, obviously some prisoners, some witnesses are much more important than others. But you know, we've seen this a million times, and I'm, you know, the only good that can come out of this is that people will just be like, "Oh, come on, are you serious?" I mean, this is just, it's sloppy. Yeah. And sloppy is some of the stupid false flags. It's just,
well, and you and I mean, we've been doing this for a little while, and we know that the law of unintended consequences operates in the universe, and their co-option of Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement backfired all over them into, you know, Epstein and a lot of other pedophiles being arrested. So that's what I'm hoping, and it is that law of unintended consequences operates whether, you know, we like it or not. And what I'm hoping it operates is just people are just so outraged at this point that and guess what? The witnesses didn't commit suicide. So all the witnesses that the Justice Department used to build that case are still there. They have other co-conspirators that have been named in those documents, and I'm sure the Department of Justice, and they had even said this a few days ago, that the indictments as far as Epstein goes was just starting. So there's plenty involved. Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, that they can go forward with prosecutions, and now they really don't have a choice. I mean, they have to go forward unless they. And I don't think whitewashing the whole thing is going to work for the Justice Department. So what are they left with? They either shit can the whole case, or they indict the co-conspirators. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still in shock. You know, like, I mean, obviously, I mean, you know, the obvious thing would be to, you know, have him killed. You know, like, but I just didn't think they would do it. You know, it's just too, it's just too obvious.
Yeah. And I mean,
I guess the, you know, the downside of people being suspicious about his suicide is much less than him actually testifying.
Yeah, and we were talking, and there are things that exist regardless of the circumstance, and I hope people don't get into, because a lot of times, and what happens with stuff like this and a lot of other issues, is that people get rolling with, you know, theorizing about what happened and who did what, and it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter,
right. It muddies the waters, it convolutes.
The case is still there. The co-conspirators are still there.
And now the focus turns to, you know, was he murdered or not, and the attention gets off of, you know, a little bit of what he actually, you know, what he did.
Ted Nugent in the chat room is telling us they've already shut down 2 of High Impact's live streams about Epstein. Be careful. Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Ted, but we're you know, we're not careful. That's not what we do. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is shut down. I wouldn't be surprised. We've had our Twitter accounts attacked. We get attacked by people in film filmmakers, and so we're not surprised. Howie's on a first name basis with the United States Secret Service. So, but the point I was getting to also is, that being said, whoever is in charge of securing Epstein needs to be, I think, at least fired, if not prosecuted for negligence, because this is, and it's not like nobody knew this. I mean, this was the Justice Department's highest profile, prisoner since Al Capone, I would imagine. And, how they, and we were talking about this too, they had a bug in that cell, they did, in one way or another. And with the technology, I imagine they would have to have a camera in that cell to see what Epstein's saying. Is he incriminating himself? Is he talking to his cop murderer roommate? That's a nice roommate they picked for him, don't you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, and
I mean, I don't know anything about prisons, or but it's just hard to believe that this guy wasn't in a special, that he wasn't being treated differently.
Yeah,
and if he wasn't, that it's absurd. I mean, it's just beyond absurd.
Yeah, and most facilities, I think, and the feds might be a little different. Anybody that's got a pedophile case, they're in 23-hour lockdown, and they don't, for the hour they get out, they don't come out and fraternize with the other prisoners. They go to a shower, or they're highly supervised. But and this is.
But aside from John, when we were talking earlier, aside from how he should have been handled, or getting Jeffrey Epstein, is a sociopath. You can see it in his eyes, the things he's done. I never paid attention to it, but until more recently, about how he actually made his money. The guy's supposedly a billionaire, and there was an article years ago written, was he running a Ponzi scheme? Everything about the guy screams sociopath. And the thing we see in sociopaths, take a serial killer for example. They don't give up. They don't give in. They don't admit to anything. It's just part of their part of the makeup by definition. So to think that this guy would basically give up by hanging himself without fighting to the bitter end. I mean, he hasn't been convicted of anything. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah,
he doesn't strike me as the type of person that would commit suicide in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I basically,
I'm not an expert, but aside from
yeah, and it doesn't even matter. The bigger issue is that he was allowed to. He was
right. I mean, right, but I'm saying that he wouldn't have done it anyway. But that's just a strange days. Strange.
Yeah. It's like him getting arrested. It was like, okay, the world changed today, and then it changed again this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking. It's a little over. It's about 5. I think it's 5 weeks to the day that he got. It's 5 weeks to the day that he got arrested.
Yeah.
It was July 6th or something.
And people will do this. There's probably some numerology, which I laugh at, but a lot of these events and with the elites are tied to specific dates. So I'm sure somebody much smarter than me will figure out the numerology value of the date Jeffrey Epstein died. But yeah, and we were talking about that, and I agree. I think he's the type of guy that was going to take everybody he could with him, you know, if he possibly could. And
oh, absolutely, he's got nothing to lose. He's not beholden to these people in any way, you know, any way, shape, or form. Well, you know, he couldn't care less. You know, so, you know, what do you think? These people were his friends?
Yeah, yeah. And I, like I said, I don't speculate about the and the actual whether he's alive or dead, whether he did do this or didn't do it. The point is, he was given the opportunity to do it. Okay, that's number one. So anybody involved in that needs to pay the price, and that the witnesses are not dead, and they're coming forward, you know, in droves. The FBI hotline. So there'll be no shortages of witnesses. The Justice Department went on record saying that you know, they were just starting with indictments on this case, and we know who's involved. You know, you're reading those documents, and I would advise anybody to go through. I made it through 250 pages of the released transcripts of the civil trial. Virginia Giuffre, hey, Pam Olson's in the house. And how many people will actually read that? But if you do take the time to read it, you see just the pattern of, you know, corruption that's in place and what they put that poor woman through for years and years and years. And the FBI had all this information. I mean, it's right in there. The Palm Beach police, who did an excellent investigation, turned all this over to the FBI, you know, and where is it? Do they still have it? And you know, where did it go? And then he gets the plea deal, you know, gets the plea. The FBI is in charge of the evidence, and there was shitloads of it in that case. And then he's allowed to plead to a state charge. So what, you know, and Acosta and, you know, Dershowitz, and, you know, they're all in that up to their necks. And the good thing is that these women have some excellent attorneys that, you know, they're not going to let this go either. And I think they're working with the Justice Department too. And
well, if I was a high profile witness in this case, I'd be very concerned at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And I would be, you know, and this isn't the time for people to speculate about what happened. This is time for people, and we're just asked what's our angle. Our angle is, you know, digest what's going on and be effective and do something about it. Keep getting the information out there. Put pressure on the Justice Department to continue on with the case and indict his co-conspirators. That's the prize. And along that line, we're doing a show tomorrow. I did about a month-long investigation on the mysterious ambulance of St. James, St. James Island, and we're going to be doing that show. And I think it's more important now. And I was talking to Jason Goodman, and I might go on with him about this, but I got to talk to officials in the Virgin Islands and in the government down there, and who, you know, cover ambulances. And as far as I know right now, that they've started an official investigation. It sounds like, I'm trying to get confirmation on that, but I've got all those emails. I talked by phone with a really wonderful person that works down there, and what the skinny of the whole thing is, there was some corruption going on to get that ambulance even in the country, and for it to be allowed to operate illegally and be licensed. And there's so many issues. And so, you know, we keep, and that's the real issue. You know, I don't know what they did with the ambulance. It's kind of odd it being there, but the story is the corruption that existed to allow him to operate the pedophile network in plain sight. So, you know, we continue on. I mean, I don't.
This is going to, hope, you know, this is not going to be a month long, or, I mean, this is going to be an ongoing thing. And, you know, and who knows where this is. Who knows where this will lead? I mean, it's kind of surreal that we're even talking about this. Epstein was, I mean, you know, when we did some of the right things, you know, it was bringing it up, but we never could have imagined that Epstein would ever be in the news again. You know, how many people are going to be paying attention? And so,
yeah. Well, you got a lot smarter when they arrested him. And then I think people finally start to realize that, you know, Bill Clinton getting confronted in public about it, you know, a year before there or longer, was a good thing, you know.
But he's never, you know, with all the, you know, I have the TV on in the background, sound down, but you know, Bill Clinton he's never mentioned, he's never asked about it. It's just nobody will touch it. Sorry, it's hard to believe, and it shows the,
yeah. Well, you know, well, Bill's already been proved a liar. He came out and they issued that statement. I don't know any of these girls, and I've never been on that plane. It's like, no.
You know, and you know, and to see, you know, Bill, you know, Clinton body count is trending was trending on Twitter. Bill Clinton's trending, and then I look up now Trump body count is now trending on Twitter.
Yeah. See, that's probably bots, and that's why I encourage people, and nobody will, to go through and read those documents in the case. What she said and made very.
They don't. People don't read.
But what they, and I'll just have to screenshot it and highlight it. But what she said was that Trump had nothing to do with her or any of the girls that she hung out with. He was there, but even what she pointed out, she was working with a Daily Mail reporter, giving her the story, and the reporter was kind of embellishing what she said, and what the reporter said was that Trump didn't have anything sexually to do with her and the group of girls she was with, but he flirted with her. And Virginia pointed it out in the deposition. She goes, "That's not true. You know, he didn't have any interaction with me whatsoever." And her dad worked at Mar-a-Lago. He was a maintenance guy. That's how she got the job there. And you know, so that yeah, Trump body count, right? Okay, so you know, and that was you know, for me, pretty much a highlight of her testimony, and that was said over and over again in all these depositions, and she was consistent with, is that when Trump was in that environment, he had nothing to do with you know, what was going on. So that's good. So we'll keep bringing it out. I'll keep reading that, and you know, and everybody here. I mean, you're all. You know, you can call the Virgin Islands. You can, and I'll just talk about this briefly because I'm going to cover it tomorrow. But I managed to get in touch with Julie Brown, the reporter for the Miami Herald, through email, and you can do that too. You know, she's on Facebook. She has an email address, and I was seeing if she was, you know, interested in what I was finding out. You know, about the corruption that took place to get that ambulance over there. And I was really surprised at her response. I mean, she threw cold water on it, started talking about conspiracy theories with the ambulance. And, you know, I'll read the emails and tomorrow, but what I'm thinking, and, you know, I may be wrong, is that she was used, and very effectively, to get Epstein in a place where he could be, you know, what could happen to him happened. So that may or may not be the case. That's just an opinion. But I would think that somebody that's done as much work as she has on this case would be interested in the corruption that existed.
All angles.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the story. It's not Epstein was a pimp. I mean, he was a pimp. That's all he was. The big story is the corruption. Yeah. So we're going to keep.
We don't like to, yeah.
Call, you know, there's and I can't imagine, and I think the FBI hotline is going to be ringing even more now because these, and I hope it does, because these survivors of these animals, you know, what do they think when they hear Jeffrey Epstein is dead? You know, do you think they feel safer? No. So you know, and that's you know, that's always been our focus is the survivors of you know, child sexual abuse, all this other stuff, you know, and the players involved, the usual suspects, you know, and I you know, I feel like when I heard this, you know, I wanted to throw up, you know, and what burns me too is people who say they're red pilled and other things are applauding this. Good, he's dead, he's a pedophile, you know, and on some,
really?
yeah, I've seen it already, you know, and on both sides, and the way the politics is just poisoned all this, and the way I look at it now, and I listen to all viewpoints, all sides, you know, but in my mind, when I hear somebody talking about politics, whatever it is, you know, all that says to me is they really don't know what's going on, you know, and that, so because politics are just another one of the tools they use to continue this you know, rape of our country and our children and, you know, our citizens, you know, because that's what it amounts to, you know. So,
but I mean, let's leave it on a positive note because
okay.
I mean, just the fact that we're, you know, that this is going on. I mean,
yes,
it's pretty surreal.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and
we lost him, but
just the fact that he was arrested in the first place.
Sure, and this will backfire, and you know, create a lot of attention, and you know, as long as there's, you know, we the people, you know. And we have a platform, whether it's social media or whatever, to just keep, you know, trying to wake people up. You know, it was never gonna happen in a year or two. So,
No.
you know, it's gonna take a long time, and at least in a strange kind of way, this could be a positive.
Yeah, and it always is. You know, the bad things, there's always good things that come out of them. And
absolutely, yeah.
And
I mean,
you know,
if there was nothing going on today, then you know, people wouldn't even be thinking about it. And somebody's going to get a piece of information wasn't looking for, and just it's going to come their way, and they're going to say, "Oh, let me look into this a little bit more."
Yeah, and you would think it. I mean, the way I look at this, and it's kind of bizarre, but it was like hearing Kennedy got shot. Yeah, you know, and I didn't hear that. My mom heard it. I was 4 years old, but it was that kind of thing. It's like you just, you know, couldn't believe that could even occur, and generally, and I think in this atmosphere, that's going to wake a hell of a lot more people up than it is, because the case closed. That's up to the Justice Department, Karen. The witnesses are still there. They've named co-conspirators. The Justice Department themselves said there was more. He had been indicted for right now were just the tip of the iceberg in this case. The corruption unit of SDNY is handling it. So no, I wouldn't say the case is over. And you're right. And we got to stay positive, Howie. That's all we can do, because you can, you know, there's enough negativity to go around. And if me and you, when we met, you know, years ago, if we'd have sat down and talked about this case and said he's going to end up indicted and looking at federal prison for life, both of us would have said you're crazy, you know. So that did happen, and they can't unring that bell So they keep doing what they're doing, and we keep doing what we're doing.
Where's this correctional facility at? It's right in downtown Manhattan.
New York, New York. So nice. They named it twice. The Tombs. So very ironic. Jeffrey Epstein died in the Tombs.
150 Park Row. Looks like you could just stand out. Looks like you could just stand outside on the street with a sign.
Yeah. Yes, you could. Yes, you could. And I know you're up to that. So
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's not. It's yeah. I mean, you can just like. There's like I'm looking at a picture of it right now. There's a street and a sidewalk, and oh, okay.
Yep. And if you want to see what the Tombs is like, do you ever see a movie called Basketball Diaries?
No, I have not.
Well, it's about the guy was a poet and a heroin addict named Jim Carroll and a rock and roll star, and I think it was DiCaprio's first movie, but he goes to the Tombs and that and it was very accurate, portrayal. I don't think it's really changed much since that time, but if you ever get a chance, watch Basketball Diaries. But yeah, Howie, I mean, and everybody that's listening, everybody on Twitter. Oh, and just let's go over the Twitter thing once again. Hitting the little heart doesn't get the information out there, and we're getting shadow banned. We're getting, they're using algorithms against us. So if we don't hit the retweet, Twitter is not going to retweet any of this information for you. So just a little review of Twitter. I love the hearts, but they really don't do anything. And for the moment, my Fireman John 629, the Lazarus account, is not shadow banned. So I actually get some of those out there. So just keep the information flowing. Talk to your neighbors. What have we been saying since day one, Howie? Talk to your neighbors, your clergy, the people you interact with. Let them, if they don't know what's going on, wake them up. Because it is making a difference. It is making a difference. And that him, the whole indictment just speaks to that. And all the Dershowitz squirming like the dirty dog that he is, and other people that we know that I just won't mention today because he's not even worth the airtime. But they're squirming, and they're just doing. Dershowitz the other day brought his wife and kid into his lie about keeping his underwear on. So now not only was he at Epstein's house getting a massage, and if you read the deposition, massage is a code word for sex. And but not only he was there, but his wife and his child was there. And he actually, there's a tweet out there, I retweeted it. You can go to his Twitter line and read it. That his wife and his daughter were there, and did they keep their underwear on too, Alan? I mean, they're squirming. They're off in left field. I hate to think, and Bill and Hillary are just the same, and and there's other things going on outside the Epstein case that they have to be worried about. So
sure. Well, the good news about the Clintons right now is that Hillary and Chelsea have a book coming out.
No, I know. I saw. Yeah, that.
Something about 100 inspirational women or whatever. So we can knowing the way they are, we might be seeing a book tour. So let's hope for that in late 2019, early 2020.
Okay.
All
right, go. Keep talking for a second. I'm trying to type a message to the chat room. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I'm just saying. Hopefully, they will go around on a book tour, and people will have the opportunity to ask questions.
Okay. So, all right. Is there anything we missed?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Just a strange day, but
yeah,
there's been a lot of them.
All right.
There's been a lot of them.
and drop by tomorrow at 2. I've got a lot of emails and information to go over. I'll
do my best. I will.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I mean, I can do that with my eyes closed. I'm just people people that are watching. Be nice if they drop by tomorrow. But yeah, there's some really good, you know, solid, credible information, emails, and you know, we talk with you know, people in the government, and even the much heralded Julie Brown. So we're gonna talk about all that tomorrow. It'll be at 2:00. And if you can join us, join us. Okie doke.
Somebody just came back and said that Gabe Hoffman will come on the show.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Gabe.
Somebody else just tweeted that. I don't know who this person is.
The last I heard, he was going to debate Stranahan on Unirock show, whatever that is. So we're.
I don't know. I don't even at this point. I don't even. I'm a rough topic, but I don't even know what the debate is.
Yeah.
More than happy to talk to him.
Yeah. Well.
Right.
We'll see. He's gonna have to learn how to show a little respect and you know, talk to us, because I don't deal with people like that. I demand respect. So
I'd rather just have him.
Hey, you want to have a discussion with Gabe, and I don't think we're equipped to do that right now. It'd be kind of.
I'll talk to anyone.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can do it on Twitter with him, because we're not until we upgrade our software here, we can't bring in guests, and I think having both of you on a party line would be pretty dumb. So maybe hey, go on Unirock, and after he gets done with Stranahan, you can talk to him.
All right, well, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's talk about important stuff like continuing to get this information out and being a catalyst for the Justice Department to do the right thing in this case. So that's what we're going to do. We're not worried about Gabe Hoffman. So I love you, bro. Thank you. I'll be in touch. If you get any outings, be sure to let me know. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Something will be coming up, I'm sure soon.
All right. You take it easy, brother. All right.
All right, man.
We'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right, bye.
That was the legend, Howard Kaplan, from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. So I'm sending you a little message. Thank you to the chat room. Stop by tomorrow, and it's kind of interesting, the information about that ambulance and how it got there, and how it's being operated, and that's the issue. This is part of this issue that needs to transcend Jeffrey Epstein. It's the corruption that allowed him to operate in plain sight. You know, a global child trafficking network. So the ambulance is part of that. And what went on in the U.S. Virgin Islands is definitely part of that. The circumstances of his death are part of that. So that's up to you guys. And I trust you. You know, just talk to everybody that you can, and you know, just keep getting the truth out there. You know, and we don't have to speculate. We don't have to, you know, spend mental energy on, you know, the exact circumstances of Epstein's death. It really doesn't matter. The issue is that he was allowed to be in a position to do that. So that's a big problem. And the other issue is now it's time for the Justice Department to indict the co-conspirators, because he's no longer there. So the case goes on, and the more noise we make, good things happen. So stay in touch. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Traffic Report 1. I'm my personal account, the new one, Fireman John 629, which is no longer my fire department ID. I just had to add one to it. So you can catch us there. You can catch us on YouTube. We have a Facebook page, a crowdsource page, and thank you all, because you make this possible, what we do, just by listening. So you guys have a great weekend. Be safe. And there's a higher power in charge of all this. So that's who I rely on. So we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.